Hello everyone, Argsy here. Welcome back to Calmsden Agriculture. It is a month later than when we were last here on the farm, and as you can clearly tell, we're making our way down to the field with the telehandler and a brand new attachment on the front. We've got the all but bale grab. This is designed to pick up the bales in the way that the bale accumulator stacked them on the back of the crone baler that we used in the last episode. So we're going to go and make a start. There's 166 bales to pick up now. Of course, you divide that by 3 because they're stacked in threes. It doesn't sound quite so bad. It's about what? Or not quite 60, 55 maybe, 54, somewhere around there. So it's not too bad what we've got to go stack down here. So we've got the trailers already down here. Meanwhile, the combines have moved on. Of course, being a month later, we've got quite a few fields. All the wheat and I think, is it all the canolas ready to go? Definitely not the linseed. As you can see in there, that is well in flower. It's certainly not ready, but let's just lift this up and over just to make it a little bit easier to get in the gate. There we go. But you can see, well, we actually can't see at the moment, but we've got the 2 wheat fields in front of us, fields number 29 and 30. We've got a combine running in each at the moment, so that is that's what we're doing to get things started. Now, we're going to get straight into this. You can see we've got the trailer down there. That is all ready to go as well. So 2 combines and 2 trailers in the field, and we've got ourselves here. Press that button, hopefully we'll be able to pick them all up. There we go, got them all grabbed pretty decently. It's not the perfect grab, but it has grabbed them all and picked up. So these are all going to go and be sold. We're going to sell them to the nearest sale point, which is just over the road. So that is the idea. We will keep some at some stage for the dairy farm, but they don't need them at the moment. I've got plenty still in storage, so when we're probably working a little bit closer to the dairy farm, we might take some of those down to them. But this is our plan. We're going to do a bit of loading, keep an eye on the combines over the fence, and just get into a whole lot more work. Obviously we've got about 10%, I think the total was, of our fields harvested last episode, so we've got still a lot of work in front of us. So let's just carry on. We'll go about getting this trailer loaded and seeing how much we make off a load of bales. I'm not optimistic for it being a huge money maker, but it's money all the same, and as our wage bill goes up and our bank account goes down, I certainly would appreciate anything at the moment. So yeah, that's us. Let's carry on. Go and get some bales loaded. So we've got 5 layers up on here already. That is pretty quick. This is going to be 6 on each layer. It's going to be 30 bales out of the 166 that need to be collected. So already made a sizable dent in it. I'm hoping that we're going to be able to pull this with the little 5 series Fendt that we've got there on the front. 171 horsepower, so it should be okay. If we have any struggles, we do have the bigger Fendt, the 7 series, sitting over there with the baler on it, which isn't being used at the moment, or even the Massey 7 series that we could come and swap out, but I reckon that's about my limit. Now, it is a little bit frustrating. Obviously we can't quite use the full extent of the trailer just because of these bars on the back. It's pretty hard to go in and stack any in there individually. Been trying to figure out if there's a way I could do it. We could use the bale grab on the front here, but we won't be doing that anyhow. It looks like we need to get some straps on here pretty quick smart. Well, that didn't quite go to plan. There's no straps on it. The bales started exploding and going everywhere. I tried to figure a few things out. This is an auto-load trailer, and I hit the auto-load button. Things exploded. They went all over the place, and now we're stuck with 24, what's telling me they're round bales. Obviously not round bales, here on the back. So I think I might have to reconsider how we're doing our loading. We'll still load them manually with the telehandler. I was pretty impressed with that load too. I was looking forward to seeing if we could pull that, but here we are, we're stuck with this. We could try and reconfigure the trailer to take the auto load function off it, but what we might do, use the telehandler, bring them all over, stack them on the back of the trailer, let the auto load configure them on the trailer like this, and we'll let that go and do the business. It does mean we're only going to be able to get 24 at a time. Now let's see, pretty tight turn out of there, just managed to make it around the corner, so we're going to head on down this way and go and get these sold. In fact, looking at the height of them, we might have struggled with some of the trees going down here too if we'd stacked it another layer high. Might even have some issues here. No, not quite. Right, let's go and get these sold, see what a trailer load's worth. So here's the sell point. We've driven over that. I'm just going to press Y and get them unloaded onto the trailer, and I can't actually see. Was it about $6,000? It's frustrating how that little course play icon sits up over there. I'll see if I can get rid of it in the course play settings, but I don't think there is an option to hide that. Come down here into our finances, you can see $6,500 of sold bales. So not too bad actually, not too bad at all. I'll take that. If we can get, I don't know, 10, 20 loads out, 10 loads out of there, 205, that'll be 240. 24 a load for 6.5. What are we going to get? 6 loads out of there? I don't know, but it's going to be a decent little maker. I'm quite happy with that. A decent little money maker indeed. Right. Let's get on back and let's just carry on getting some bales loaded and brought on down here and sold. Try and see if we can get some auto drive to come and sell them too. Possibly not, just because of the auto load function on the trailer, but we'll see what happens. So back down here in the field, and let's go and get a few more of these loaded up. Like I said, we're going to use the auto load on the trailer, but we will still pick them up and stack them there. So what I might do is, I know it'll go a little bit haywire, but I think the best bet is to get all 24 of them put on the back, and then we'll use the auto load to stack them. I think that's going to be the best way, rather than trying to put them on and auto load them as we go. So let's go ahead and we'll get this first lot done. So there is our 24 bales on board, and this is what happens. You press B and things go absolutely chaotic. That is not going to be a very good option either. Maybe we do need to try and auto load them as we go. That might have to be our next option. Right, let's jump out here and get this all fixed up. So there we go, that's things tidied up. Now we've set an auto drive course here just to see if it will go and unload it. I don't think it will. I'll actually be impressed if the tractor can get out of the field, to be perfectly honest, because it is a very tight turn going to the right with this trailer on. But with this all done, we're going to go and jump over into the combines just briefly, let this go and do its thing. We'll go and see how the harvesters are going. You can see the one down there working its way around the field. I've noticed the trailers coming and going. There's one on its way out now, and everything's been unloading without any interference from me, which has been nice. These are going to bales. Oh, sail straight through those bales. No, managed to detect those and avoid them. So let's go and have a look and see how the combines are going. We've jumped over to here into field number 30 first, which is the smaller of the two. They should get finished in here much quicker. You see the trailer coming along and getting ready to unload, are they? Can't be too far away. We're at 62%, and I think if settings are still the same as last time, we had the combines set to call at 60%. So let's wait and see. Hopefully it's going to get around here reasonably well. There we go. And we might see that unloader get in there next door and take a load out of the combine. Here we go, we've got some in there. Yes, we do. So basically I think we must be running about 2 full combine hoppers, and the trailers are then going to disappear. But everything's going really well from an automation and course play auto drive. self-managing process and profile, these are doing the job, doing it quite nicely actually. It's a nice way to do it, having the same combine and trailer in a field each. You're not having to sort of switch between, or the trailer's not having to figure out which combine it needs to go and unload. It's only got one to take care of, so working out pretty well in that regard. But there we go. I'm going to drive along here next door for a wee while. That trailer must be getting close to full. I'm not getting any notification of that, but no doubt they'll run until they are at a point that they can go and unload. So yeah, things are running nicely. Getting some dirt built up on here, and I do notice actually one thing we need to worry about is diesel. Things are starting to get a little bit low, so we will have to manage that and make sure we get everything unloaded. But yeah, going along swimmingly, much better than the bale loading, that's for sure. And likewise over here in the bigger field, the second combine as well, running along there, 40% full, so we do know that their tractor just headed out to go and unload. You can see the others just over the fence there, but this is the fourth headland pass of 4 that we had set them up on. Bring up the course play menu there, we're at 1 hour and 26 remaining time, so it's still a bit of time to go. Take a while to get this to do, but there we go. That's the other beauty. One of the tractors is needing to refuel, that's the 9S. It's going to go to the refuel station all on its own. Very, very clever. I think the 9S is the one that's been servicing this combine, so very nice to see. Right, let's keep them carrying on. We're going to go and see what's happened with this tractor finding its way down to the sell point, or even if it's managed to get out of the gate. And there we go, that was the problem I thought we were going to strike, which was access out of this gate is incredibly tight. So let's just back that out, back that off. If we can manage to do it ourselves. Did have to run almost out into the bushes on the other side. There we go, bit of power, and that will get it around there. There we go. Alright, I wonder, let's just for the sake of it, see what happens if we put this on the auto drive setting. And we'll ride along and see what happens when we get to the other end. Now if it does prove that we can unload using auto drive, we could even look at using one of the other points. Just taking a look at the map here. It's a bit further away, but the garden centre Bales is actually, if we went out this side of the field and up and around, it's probably actually an easier point to access. Just even thinking about some of the other Bale points, anything turning left out of here is probably going to be a bit easier, but certainly going out and down that way could be a good option. Here we are, let's have a look. Going to head on in and find its way into the sell point. Jump back out there into third person view. We've had a little bit of a glitch there with the bales moving around, sticking through the bottom of the trailer deck. A little bit unorthodox, but let's just have a look. See what happens when we get here. Are they going to unload it or not? Well, kind of, but not properly. They did unload some of them, but it almost needed to pause there, and it didn't actually pause at all. You can see it did sell some. In fact, it doesn't look like they were all unloaded. There we go. Not sure exactly what happened there, but at least if we could get it to drive to the point, maybe we just use the road going tool where we just send it to the sell point and then we can get it going back and forth that way. But yeah, that could be an option as well. Right, let's send this back up to F28 tractor weight. I know it's going to struggle to get into the field as well when it gets to the other end, but at least it can get there on its own. Let's try this again. We've got our auto load loading should be turned on. Now I'm just curious what happens when we go and put these on here. Are they going to load in? They won't at the moment because they're attached to where I am, but there we go. Right, that could be the way to do it, where we just plonk them down and auto load takes over. We'll see how it goes. Let's get a few more loads over here. Another 7 to go, of course 8 to fill it up. I like the way this tool works though. This tool is incredibly handy, although I'm not sure what's going on with that one. Like it's got a little bit glitched out. Interestingly enough, this is still attached and grabbing the ones that are over on the trailer. Goodness gracious me. They still have some weird attachment here to the telehandler. Look, lift them up and it thinks I'm lifting those ones up. I'm not though. Completely different bales. Well, it's frustrating. Right, we're going to park up here, and for the second time I think we might just have to default to using some actual auto load. Frustrating because I was hoping to avoid doing it at all on this one, but I can even unload the bales. There we go. Those bales, as far as anyone is concerned, are not loaded on the back of the trailer. We can put them back on and now they are. auto load's taken over. But let's just go and have a look here. These three up. Yeah, there we go. Right, well, let's get another load done. There's only so much perseverance and patience I can have with this. We might have to see whether the dealers have any Anderson bale loaders available, and maybe give that a go. That could be another option. Of course, won't work very well though with the accumulator, so I'd say it'd be an unfortunate compromise. But let's carry on. We'll get these all loaded up and out of here. And we will go and see if the auto drive course will work better heading down to the plant shop, down to the other, say one of the other sell points. So there we go, we set up F28 tractor weight. It's going to get to the outside of the field. We've got it set to garden centre bales. Now I was just looking through the settings because something rang a bell that there was some auto load settings in here, and under vertical settings there's actually an auto load wait time unload. So basically I think this will pause and hold for 10 seconds to allow that auto load to unload the bales onto the bale trailer, and then they can get sold. So we had it on 0 before, which is why we saw it try to unload when it got to the trigger, but didn't actually do it. So let's just wait and see. We'll ride along for the duration, see one, whether this course is a little bit more friendly and whether it's going to work, and two, whether that auto load pause will work, because that could be quite a neat little function. And something we could actually then go and do is use the auto load function on the trailer to actually automatically collect the bales and sell them too, which could be an even better option, particularly when I start to think about how many, potentially thousands of bales, of straw bales, we are going to have across the course of this, with all the wheat, particularly the wheat that we've got left to go. There's a few oats as well. Yeah, there could be a lot. Alright, well here we are pulling into the sell point. I'm just going to have to stop things here if I can get into it in time, because we've got a gate to go through. But we did definitely get out a little bit easier. It wasn't perfect, but there we go. Get that opened up. Jump back in here. I also managed to bump the button that makes the bales go up and down. Why is it going to go that way? Probably just because of the course we were on, or is it a two-way course? A one-way course? Just have a look. Here we go. Looks like it's one-way course, so it is actually meant to go around to the right. Come through the back. So let's jump out there, because it looks like there's another gate down the other end that we need to go and get open. Beat the tractor down. Hopefully. It's open before they get here. There we go. Just in time. Only just in time. Crikey. Flying in there. Let's have a look now. So we should, assuming the bale one must be the second one, we should see this pause for 10 seconds to allow the unloading to happen. There we go, there's the pause. No, it didn't stop and wait. Frustrating. Well, I think I figured out why that happened, because in these settings I had unload was set to off. There we go, but I've now set it to unload on center, which basically says that it is going to pause and unload onto the center of the trailer. So let's just see if this is going to help. Do we get a eureka moment here? Are we going to get a pause? No, still no pause. Alright, well. Maybe something with the way the auto load is configured on this trailer. I don't know what it is, but it's not going to work quite how I'd hoped. There we go, get those unloaded on there, and now we can tell it to get on back to where it needs to be. Definitely a better course to bring it to, better access, easier to get into and out of the field and things like that, so it's going to make it here easier, but still need to try and figure out why that won't unload. Well, I've got to say, it started out so promising. I was all excited about how well this grab worked, how well that first load of bales went, right up until the moment it exploded and fell over everywhere. So, lesson learnt. I'm sure if I just had a normal flatbed trailer, I know the problem was the auto load. Maybe we need to look at a different trailer or something like that, just to make things a little bit easier for us. I don't know, we'll figure it out. But what we're doing at the moment, we're just racing around here just while we wait for the trailer to get back here to the field. Is thought we'd go and just stack them at least so that they are all in a relatively central spot, or at least trailer loaders. There's a few like those ones down there which got whacked by the baler when it was baling, when it ran basically back through its own load. Which are a bit hard to organise using this grab. Kind of need the front loader on the tractor, so we're just going to ignore those. Might use the auto load to pick them up, but yeah, for now, just going to run around and get these all kind of tidied up into a sort of semblance of order and organisation, and hopefully that will make it a little bit easier to load out. There's not actually, when you start looking around, taken 3 loads out of here already, which is, what's that, 24, 48, 72 of 166, so almost halfway. Almost halfway, not far off, but yeah, here we go. I do like how this works. As a concept, the accumulator and this grab in unison could work beautifully. So we've just got our heads down and got all these bales sorted out. We had stacked them all up in the field, as you would have seen, just to make it a little bit easier to load them out, and we're running our last load down here. So we've gone from what, 20-ish thousand to 57,000, so we've made a decent amount of money. It's worth the effort. It is worth the effort, even though it has taken us a bit of time and a whole lot of frustration. Now you're probably wondering why we've got one sitting there on the grab on the front. That is either a slightly smaller bale, or it's one that we emptied out, which was only half full at the end. It might have been our last bale, which we emptied out early. So it wouldn't get picked up by the auto load because auto load detected it as a different size bale. So anyhow, was having the grab, we could pick it up on the front of the tractor. Now it is actually incredibly tight getting out of here. It's still more open and easier to get out of than the other one, but still very tight. So we're going to run on up here to the garden centre, go and get these last few bales sold. So jump in here so we can see where we're going, and then we're going to come back and spend some time with the combines and see how they're progressing. I know they're both well through their headlands, field well opened up. There we go, there's one of our trailers off and heading down to unload. That might have even been the one that just said it needed to go and get some fuel. So I know that the 9S had gone and refueled, and it had done a good job of doing that. So things are progressing nicely. These combines and trailers, grain trailers, have hardly needed any interference from me. It has been absolutely bliss watching that all occurring while we've been struggling over here with the bales. So yeah, things are running good from that perspective, and we're getting through the acres, which is the key thing. So go and get these sold, and we'll go and see how the combines are all tracking. Take that bale off there first, let that one get sold, and then we'll pull these forward and need to hit the unload button. Make that Y twice, and there we go. That is all the bales taken care of. $62,862 in the account. But just before we drive off, let's have a quick look. How much have we made off that field? So 44,826 from selling the bales. That's not too bad. Now, I just thought we'd go and take a quick look, because if you remember the oats, we got 268,000 litres of oats off there, which have a value of potentially 172 grand. So we could get $210,000 off that field, which is very, very impressive. Now, certainly not seeing the same value coming through here with the wheat. Maybe didn't quite get the moisture right, not getting quite as much of a yield bonus. We should actually check that out in the fields, because we're certainly seeing a much lower yield down there for the wheat, which is interesting. So let's get on back down and go and suss that out, see if we can figure out what's going on. We've jumped into field 30 here. Combine's just waiting to be unloaded. This is the tractor that had headed back down and needed some diesel, but just having a look there, and I think in my mind I know exactly what has gone on and why we're getting a slightly lower yield here on the wheat compared to the ridiculous yields we got on the oats. I hadn't updated the app. The realistic weather app hadn't been updated, and I think what we're seeing now is a little bit more of a realistic yield bonus. Our moisture is very low, 3.787 and descending, so much lower than our ideal moisture. You can now see we've got the irrigation and moisture retention in there as well, and the chance of withering. So I think that is probably the main difference, is we've now updated the app and or updated the mod, and things are just a little bit more realistic here on what the yields are. You got to admit, a 200% yield bonus just on having good moisture was probably not that accurate. But in terms of this field, I think there's only one more pass on the other side here for the combine to get through. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, it does look like a header width there, and then getting into the narrowing part of the field. So you can see down there, already finished that section. So just some shorter passes left to do here on this one. Hopefully the trailer's not too far away from here, and they're able to carry on. So we'll go and have a look at the other combine, see what's going on over there as well. So over here, looks like we've got Sally driving this combine, but this one is progressing quite nicely. Look there, we must have a good chunk of this field done. In fact, there's probably only one land section left to do after this. Not far away from needing an unload either, 78% full. Bring up the course pay menu there, 37 minutes remaining, so not too much longer to go here as well. We'll just jump out as well and have a look at the moisture levels running around on this one. So seeing much a similar moisture level, just around that 3%, and very similar there on our current yield of 93%. Of course, we've done everything we just about could to this to get our yield bonuses up, fertilised, limed, or everything like that. So we're seeing a 100% bonus there. Our yield bonuses are -6, but I'm pretty sure that's the moisture mod, which is bringing that down to where it is. Still expecting about 130,000 litres off this field though, which would be nice. 2.63 tonnes to the acre, so that's not too bad. There we go. Trailer is getting into position. Hopefully going to go and chase down that combine in just a second and get things unloaded. So yeah, nice to see things progressing here as well. Good to get a whole lot more acres done. And there we go, the combine is now full and the trailer's on its way down here. Now, just going to take the chance while we're in here, just have a look at the map and see what the plan is for moving forward once we're finished here in these fields. Just taking a look around, you can see over here getting a good patch of purple with things being harvested, and we've basically, once we've finished on these two, knocked out this section of the farm. Then we've got over here field 22. We'll just go back to our crop type, back that way. You see we've got one more field of wheat to get harvested here, field 22, which we will get into, and then we're going to have to change the combines over. In fact, no we won't. We'll take a field here of oats out. So we've got two more grain crops here, the oats and the wheat to do, and then it will be time to swap over to canola. We've got 16, 15 and 7 up there ready to go as well. So lots more harvesting still to keep going. We don't even have the linseed ready yet. 5 and 25 aren't even ready, and that still leaves us a whole lot of corn to do as well, grass to mow. It is a very, very busy time here on the farm. There we go, combine's moving again, grain carts and grain trailer's done its job and got things unloaded. So let's just ride along here for a little bit and get this field done. Still getting incredibly close to being finished here in this field. I've just taken it off course play and auto drive because, as you can see, our diesel indicator is flashing in the red, so we are getting on the low side. Interesting, we've only put 3.2 hours on this. We must have our fuel usage set to high because that does not sound very right to be that far through. However, we only have one more pass effectively back down here and we'll be done, so there's really no point heading off and refueling or anything like that. In fact, there's no way we can head off and refuel without taking headers off in that anyhow. So we're just going to run along this very last little section of the field, get this into the tank. It should all fit. Got 20% capacity. It hasn't been filling up too fast. It definitely is filling up, but if we run along about there, that should be about where courseplay would be. And then we can get this field finished and we'll have both these work fields all done. The other combine is finished. You can see we've still got the warning up there because we haven't been over and jumped in it yet, but there's us running down the last here. So these two fields all finished and another good chunk of our farmland cleared out. And here we go, almost finished, pretty full on the hopper, but we have managed to get it all in there. Perfect. There we go, done, job done. So we get that turned off, turn our header off, make sure we press the right button, and we'll head on back down to the field entry. And wait for the grain trailer to get back here to be unloaded into, but that is probably going to be just about us for today. So there we go, field finished. We'll leave the combine there, grab the grain cart in just a bit and get that into there. I'm not actually sure where it is, pretty sure it had gone to unload, so it can't be too far away from being back down here. Just going to go and poke our nose here into the other field, have a look to make sure everything was finished off okay. Can't actually just see the top of the grain, the combine just down there. We've got the grain cart next to it, grain trailer next to it as well. So this field's all finished. We're obviously going to get the baler in here, get some more straw baled up, particularly considering the fact we made $40,000 off that other field. If we can get another 25, 30 off each of these, that's going to be a nice bit of money in the pocket. But there we go. Another good chunk of our field and farmlands all are done here on Calmsden Farms for Calmsden Agriculture. Next time, like I said, we've still got oats and wheat to go, so we'll be into that. We'll be into some more baling. Might even have to start thinking about, do we have to do any tillage cultivation, get some of the stubble all mulched up and into the ground in advance of preparing fields for seeding. Who knows? We'll have to give that a little bit of consideration too. Lots going on. So, as always, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Thank you all very much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.